All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into the proprietary geometric market documentation for asset XAG. We're going to be doing a purely clinical walkthrough of the system's exact structural coordinates for cycle 4. So let's jump right into it.
Okay, first things first, we need to establish the strict constraints for this explainer right up front. Just to be absolutely clear, this is not financial advice and leverage above 10 is strictly prohibited here.
We really have to stick to some rigid usage constraints. Bottom line, do not invest essential personal funds. This whole explainer is purely part of public model documentation. Throughout our readout today, we're keeping a very neutral documentary tone. No predictions, no assumptions whatsoever. And actually, you won't hear any references to technical analysis, fundamental analysis, or quant methods either. We are here solely to describe visible events, and that's it.
Quickly, looking at our agenda for this structural readout, we'll cover the system scope, the Phase 1 entry state, risk parameters and sizing, structural targets, and we'll wrap up with future phase definitions.
Moving right along to Section 1, System Scope, the visual anchor.
And here we have our visual anchor. This brilliantly illustrates the fixed and complete Phase 1 state for asset XAG, specifically Cycle 4 Phase 1. It was documented precisely on May 28, 2026 at 0050 EST. Now this is absolutely crucial. The chart is documented exactly as shown. There is no added future movement. We don't add, we don't extend, modify, or generate any candles or price data. If it's not visible, it's simply not shown.
Okay, on to Section 2, the Phase 1 entry state.
Let's look at the precise mathematical state we've established here. We've got the primary entry, which we mark as coordinate M, sitting at exactly $72.114. Then the secondary entry, marked as PC, is positioned at $64.5284. When you put those together, it gives us a mean entry of exactly $68.3212.
Next up is Section 3, Risk Parameters and Sizing.
So the system defines these fixed inputs purely mathematically. The trapezoid time duration is set to 28 days, and the third triangle domain is defined at 28.6%. We also have a risk coefficient of 2, and that's layered over a hypothetical capital of $100,000. What does that mean? Well, it results in an expected max drawdown of exactly 10%, so $10,000, utilizing a contract size of 10,000 ounces.
Now, the real foundation of this geometry relies on this one exact mandate. Quote, both trade sizes are calculated using the hypothetical capital, the investor's maximum allowed drawdown, the third triangle domain percentage, the risk coefficient, and the contract size. Unquote.
And through some pretty simple arithmetic based exclusively on those inputs we just talked about, each trade size equals exactly 0.01. It's a completely deterministic calculation straight from those documented parameters.
All right, Section 4, Structural Targets.
These structural targets give us estimated returns at some very specific coordinates. Target 1 is the mirror delay or lower trapezoid, sitting at $74.19. Target 2 is apex N at $82.39. And finally, Target 3 is the trapezoid top at $92.708.
Let's calculate the expected outputs here. For scenario number 1, which involves an entry at M and a full exit at target 3, simple arithmetic yields an expected total profit of $2,059. To put that into perspective, that's a 2.059% expected return. Alternatively, if we look at scenario number 2, where we combine both entries and plot exits at target 2 and target 3, the expected total profit evaluates to $3,845. This yields a 3.84% expected return, all based entirely on the structural geometry.
Which brings us to Section 5, Future Phase Definitions. It's super important to understand that Phases 1 through 4 are just labels for structural destinations, okay? They're not a strict chronological timeline. Phase 2 just denotes price touching the mirror delay or the lower trapezoid boundary. We don't interpret it, it just happens. Phase 3 is when price reaches apex N. Phase 4 is completion at the trapezoid top, meaning paths might actually manifest as a normal progression of 1, 2, 3, and 4, or alternatively, they could go 1, 3, 2, and 4.
So, that concludes our readout of Cycle 4 Phase 1. The geometry is fixed. Now the asset is just left to resolve its own structural path. Will the market pull toward Phase 2, or will it push directly to Phase 3? Honestly, we simply observe.
Remember, this analysis is solely part of public model documentation. You can view more of these structural documents over at marketdnaedge.com. As XAG moves forward, the big question to ask yourself is,
How strictly will price adhere to this predefined geometry? Keep your eyes on the chart and, hey, thanks so much for joining this explainer.